Haaland's walk isn't discipline, it's an insult. Every time he refuses to celebrate, he's telling the goalkeeper and the stadium that scoring on them wasn't worth a reaction, and this isn't a theory, he's admitted exactly where it comes from, and it's stranger than anyone guessed. Ronaldo and Messi have their own versions of this same power move, and all three tell you something different about who they actually respect. Haaland has said he never plans a celebration, joking he'd end up with the longest goalless streak of his career if he tried. He explained the walk comes from the movie Troy, from the scene where Achilles kills someone and just walks away pretending nothing happened. That's not a safe, vague answer, that's a striker admitting his most controversial celebration is modeled directly on a killer's aftermath. That stillness showed up on the biggest stage possible. At the World Cup, Haaland scored twice to knock Brazil out in the round of 16. Both times he refused to celebrate while his Norway teammates went wild around him. Brazil's manager had spent the build-up insisting his defenders already knew how to contain him. 2 unanswered goals and 0 reaction later, that confidence looked like exactly what the walk exists to punish. The walk turned into a personal weapon against Arsenal. Gabriel had already clashed with Haaland in an earlier meeting between the clubs. In the rematch, Gabriel celebrated Arsenal's fast opener by shouting directly into Haaland's face as he ran past him. When Haaland equalized soon after, he pointedly gave Gabriel nothing back. Arsenal won 5-1. A teenage Arsenal player mocked Haaland by copying his own celebration back at him, and Gabriel later shoved away Haaland's hand when the striker tried helping him up. Haaland answered by pointing to the Premier League badge on his sleeve, reminding Gabriel he'd won the one thing Arsenal hadn't touched in 2 decades. Haaland proved the walk isn't automatic. Facing Leeds United, his boyhood club, he scored twice and stayed blank-faced again, but this time confirmed it was planned because he didn't feel like celebrating out of respect for the club where he was born. That single admission reframes every other version of the walk. If he can consciously choose silence out of respect for one opponent, the silence shown to everyone else was never really about staying calm. It's a choice about who earned a reaction. Ronaldo's celebration works on the opposite logic. Instead of withholding a reaction, he built one loud enough to become bigger than most players' entire highlight reels. It's also created something Haaland's walk never has: opponents planning to steal it before a ball is kicked. Ahead of a Club World Cup match against Messi's Inter Miami, Palmeiras defender Murilo said he's Team CR7 in the GOAT debate and promised he'd do the Siuu himself if he scored against Messi's side, turning another player's celebration into a pre-match taunt aimed at his rival's team. The Siuu turned personal in a Nations League quarter-final. Manchester United's Rasmus Hojlund scored the winning goal against Ronaldo's Portugal and immediately did his own version of the Siuu directly in front of his childhood idol. Ronaldo said it didn't bother him, calling it an honor since players around the world copy it regardless, but he also added he hoped to do his own Siuu in front of Hojlund in the return leg, turning a compliment into a direct promise of payback on the same pitch. Messi's celebration isn't built for opponents at all. It's widely understood as a tribute to his maternal grandmother Celia, who passed away when he was still young after shaping his early career. She had reportedly taken him to a pitch for the first time at age 4, arguing with a reluctant coach into giving him a chance despite his small stature. And Messi scored twice in that match after coming on. He said directly he dedicates his goals to her, adding she can't see how far he's come but continues to help him and his family. It's the only celebration of the 3 not performing for the crowd, the cameras, or the opponent. Even Messi's celebrations haven't stayed purely personal. During a World Cup match against the Netherlands, Messi cupped his ears facing the Dutch bench, deliberately mimicking former Argentina playmaker Juan Román Riquelme's old celebration, one Riquelme had used specifically as a message to critics who'd sidelined him. Using it in that moment added open fuel to an already heated match, turning a gesture usually reserved for private tribute into a pointed shot at an entire coaching staff. None of this works as pure improvisation. A player who gives nothing away, whether it's a fictional killer's walk or a deliberate act of respect, leaves defenders with zero read on what's happening in his head. Haaland's blankness, Ronaldo's guaranteed repetition, and Messi's private ritual all remove the same tell: the emotional swing a defender could otherwise use to predict what happens next. 3 goals, 3 targets. Haaland's walk tells an opponent they weren't worth a reaction. Ronaldo Siuu gets stolen and thrown back at him before kickoff, and he throws it right back. Messi's point to the sky skips the opponent completely and goes over their heads to someone who isn't in the building anymore. None of these are accidents. The celebration already tells you who it's for and who it very deliberately isn't. If you want more of these breakdowns, the next one's already in the works. Subscribe so you don't miss it.